Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of the California Clays podcast. I'm your host, Henning. Today, I'm sitting down with one of the most dominant young athletes in the world of Helice shooting, Macie Page. She's a four-time USHA national champion and now a two-time Ladies World Champion, fresh off her win in Italy at the 2025 Worlds. What makes Macie's rise even more impressive is not just her dominance in the ladies division, but how competitive she is against the guys, and that she's only been shooting the sport for 6 years. She's young, driven, and razor sharp in a sport that demands total focus and reaction speed precision. Helice, also known as ZZs, is a discipline that's very different from sporting clays, but just as intense. In this episode, we get into how she got started, how she uses her eyes and calms her mind for the chaos that is ZZ birds, and what it takes to stay consistent at the highest levels. Let's jump right in. Macie Page, welcome to the California Clays podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much. You're a pretty impressive shooter, I have to say. I bumped into you at I think it was the 2022, no, not 2022. It had to have been 2024 Nationals at Stockton, right?
Yes,
20
2023.
2023, right?
Yes.
Where you won the ladies national championship, and then you had been winning world championships directly after that. I think you won the 2024 world championship. And where was that at?
The 2024 World Championships was in Cairo, Egypt.
Cairo, Egypt. That's right. Okay, I do remember hearing about that. And then you just won the 2025 ladies world championship in Italy.
Yes, in Getty, Italy.
That's amazing. So for folks that don't know you and don't know about the sport Helice, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Right, just how I got into it. And
Yeah,
uh,
or just a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get into the sport, and how you got into it? Yeah.
right, my dad, I have one sister, and so we're all super close. And so my dad just kind of took me and my sister out whenever we were younger to go shooting. And since I was 3 and 4, he's been taking me out to the sporting clays course, and I'd go out and pull all day for him. And then once I kind of got big enough, I started shooting just for fun here and there, and then really, really enjoyed it. And so kind of was playing other sports and going back and forth. And then when I was around 12, I guess, I really just switched to shooting and started competing in SCTP, which is a lot of youth events, and started to get into NSCA stuff with him. And him and I would travel around and shoot sporting clays. And then when I was 14, we actually joined at Dallas Gun Club. And my dad really wanted to get me into Helice and kind of start there because he really thought I would enjoy it. So we joined at Dallas. So I had the opportunity to start shooting Helice and just really loved it. Started competing in that, and then he started competing in that too. Really, we just only compete in that, get to travel everywhere for it, and kind of switched from NSCA and obviously grew out of SCTP, and now really just get to compete at Helice. So
So when you started in SCTP, that was your introduction to clay shooting?
yes, that and NSCA, I did both, but a lot of sporting clays definitely.
And so initially, the sporting clays was your main sport with your father. How far did you get in sporting clays?
I was only, I guess I stopped shooting at around 15 really competitively. I believe the highest I got was B class. I really didn't, it's been such a long time. I really can't remember how far. Um, but I mean, we shot a lot. I think one year we shot like 3,000 registered targets. We kind of just traveled for fun everywhere, but really just made the switch to Helice.
Now, speaking of Helice, Helice, I feel like it's not a really well-known sport, right? I mean, I've shot it before. I even made a documentary on it, which folks can find on the California Clays YouTube page back in 2022 for the Kurt Paul Memorial shoot. And it was a sport that I really love and enjoy and continue to shoot it when I can. But sporting clays and FITASC has been the main thing I've been focused on. How would you describe Helice to folks that aren't familiar with it?
Yes, one of the main differences from most clay games to Helice is the target itself. So it's a plastic target and it mimics how a live bird would fly. So I mean, you can never really throw the same target again. And it's a plastic target with wings and then a white cap, which is called the witness cap. So for Helice, there's 5 machines that are spinning when you call for the target. It will throw one, and you have no idea what type of target. They can go really high in the air, really low on the ground, varying speeds, really predicting how a live bird would fly, kind of unpredictable. And then you have to break that witness cap from the orange wings, and it has to land well, it has to hit within the fence for it to be considered a dead target.
So when you first started shooting this, coming from sporting clays, what were your thoughts? How did you take in the sport?
I thought it was so fun. My dad really has always said that he thought that I would enjoy it because it's really unpredictable and it's different and it's more of a reaction game. So I really enjoyed it. I thought that the it being different every time was really fun. I always really liked five stand for that reason too, because it was you moved a lot and it was a lot of different targets and feed task. So it kind of reminded me of that at first. Whenever it's you have 5 targets usually at a time, and they all are very different. You're not going to get 5 of the same targets in a row, which I thought made it really fun and more challenging too.
So you enjoyed the variability of it. Did you ever get bored with sporting, or was it more just you ended up finding that you liked this game better?
I don't think I ever got bored with sporting. I did used to get pretty bored with skeet when I shot it in SCTV.
I think
Um,
everybody gets bored of skeet.
I enjoy shooting it for fun now, but after 2 or 3 rounds, I kind of get bored. But sporting clays I thought was super fun. I just really enjoyed Helice more and got to meet a lot of great people through Helice too.
Did you consciously have to make a change, like in how you shot sporting and Helice? Like, what was your thought? Like when you first started, were you good at Helice?
I think that at the time I didn't really make a conscious thought of what I was the change that I was shooting, but now whenever I do shoot it, I do kind of have to really think about it because I shoot sporting clays a little different than I shoot Helice, and have to I focus really hard on both of them, but just in a different way, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so
Can you
at
do
the
you mind elaborating on that? Like, what is it for you that's different? I'm always curious about how
time.
people think about the different disciplines in their mind.
Right. For sporting clays, a lot of the time I definitely have now that I don't shoot it as much, a little lower expectations for myself at sporting. But going up there and kind of the first, whether it's 6 targets or 8 targets, the first couple of pairs, really trying to read the target and see where to break it. And then once I'm able to break the targets, trying to mimic that 3 or 4 times in a row. So really having to focus to try and mimic what I just did versus in Helice, once I hit that target, I'm not going to make that exact same shot again. So it's more of just focusing of shooting those 5 and staying in it longer. Rather with sporting, it's more of okay, you need to repeat. What did you just do? How far was the lead? Which in Helice, I've always said this, I really don't see lead at all whenever I shoot Helice. Someone will ask like how far I was in front of it. And I was like, well, I shoot all Helice in my mind, the way that I'm seeing them. I shoot all of them pretty much the same way, just getting on the leading edge, where in sporting clays it'll be 3 feet of lead, 2 feet of lead, however much it is for the target.
I'd love to dive into that a little bit more when we get into your training and mindset because I feel the exact same way. I never really saw it as a lead game as much. Like I'd look at the target, make a
Right.
move. You're just making a move, and I guess part of the move is there's a little bit of lead in there, but
Right.
the perceived lead is different than it is in I think sporting clays. Where you're
Definitely.
watching like the target kind of come into your barrel, and you're seeing the
Right.
gap a little bit in between, but you're still looking at the target. Where with Halise, I feel like you see the target and you just make a move to the target.
Right.
You would
Definitely.
agree? That's kind of your,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yes.
So early on, who are some of your early mentors or influences in the sport and when you first started getting into it?
I would definitely say the biggest influence is my dad. He's been, the biggest coach and my whole family's been my biggest encourager, but I get to really shoot with him and definitely when I'm struggling or at first didn't understand and he would stand behind me at first and I would turn around and we'd walk through why I missed or what it was. And I took some lessons at first too. Mr. Sellers or Mike Sellers, he gives lessons and so when I was first starting out, he's shot this game for a really long time, and he would kind of walk through different fundamentals and how to read a target and what it means to really have a more of a shot routine. And Mr. Davis, too, him and his wife have shot a lot of skeet, and they were big influences of me really getting into the game and kind of explaining it. And so definitely it's just like a big community. And I think everyone I've, as they like to all, I have a lot of uncles or even my extra granddads with the sport, and they kind of help me all along the way. So definitely a little bit of help from everyone.
That's awesome. The one thing I could definitely vouch for is the Helice crowd is a great group of people, great community of folks,
Definitely.
and they're all in different areas, but it's just a great, a social group of folks
Mhm.
that get together to shoot the sport. And I think this discipline is probably more of the social shotgun sport. Would you say?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So when your father and Mike Sellers were helping you, like what were the things that they were helping you see and discover in your game?
Mhm. I think a lot of it was whenever I was with Mr. Sellers, I was really just starting out, so 14 or 15. And so it was just you make different movements. And one of the things that I always say, like for Halise and what he always talked about was kind of hooking to the box rather than the target. And so that's a really interesting movement because your mind sees the flap come down on the Halise machines and you automatically swing there. But if the target's going here and you're swinging, then it's a weird movement. So just kind of more of the fundamentals and the differences of how you shoot this game and really getting more comfortable with the game. And I think a lot of it is you realize you have so much more time at this game than you think because you feel like the targets are going to make it to the fence. I mean, in a second, but you really have ample amount of time to shoot the target.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say about the ample time piece. And when I keep thinking of like eye vision, sports vision
Mhm.
comments that I've heard from sports vision doctors as well, they talk about quiet eye. Are you familiar with that concept?
Just kind of the still eyes.
So the still eyes, but also the lock that you get where you slow down the target. And so quiet eye
Okay.
means when you actually slow down the target, and that gives you the hand-eye coordination feedback that you need to make the move. When you're thinking and looking at the target, and it seems like you have more time, are you seeing it in slow motion? Like, how does it feel for you? Where because it's still like a couple seconds, right? Like you don't have a lot
Right.
of time, but
Right.
I know what you mean by when you say that you have more time than you think.
Yes. I wouldn't say it's necessarily slow motion. I just feel like I can see it crystal clear whenever it goes up and there's like a sweet spot almost, I feel like, at every Halise target. And even I couldn't, now that I've shot so much and just have seen a lot of other targets where you can kind of tell, like, okay, that for at least in my timing, some people shoot it way faster, some people shoot it way slower, just kind of where their timing is. But even when I watch videos of myself and I'm seeing, like, oh, I shot that way too fast, and you can kind of like, from when you call pull to when you can hear the gun go off, kind of knowing that rhythm.
Yeah. No, you know what? You're right. I like that you said sweet spot because it feels like every discipline kind of has their own rhythm and sweet spot in terms of how
Right.
you move and react. And while Halise is shorter, like a shorter sweet spot, there is a sweet spot in there where once you lock on that target, you know exactly what move you need to make to hit it, right? Is that what you're, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that what you're,
No, that's exactly. I mean, I can always tell, and even my mom jokes too. And my mom doesn't shoot, but I mean, me and my dad both do, so she's kind of been around it a lot. And she jokes that even she can tell based off where I normally shoot. She's like, that was way too fast if I missed it, or she won't even see it. And she's like, I know you missed it because you shot too fast from when you called pull. So I feel like it's kind of the more I've shot it, the more of a rhythm that I get into of about when I'll shoot the targets.
yeah, so how do you prepare for that rhythm, right? Like, because I think that's what makes the sport hard is it's still a feel, right? It's like a feel
Right.
component to the rhythm. How do you mentally prepare for these types of targets?
I definitely think it's more just knowing that going up there and not really. I think sometimes when I get in my mind of, okay, like I just need to hit five and go on, but it's really just one target at a time. And so going up there and just whatever the target is thrown, and sometimes it'll be a really easy target or sometimes it's a really hard target, but just really, I think just stilling and calming my mind of, because I get super nervous every time before I shoot. So a lot of deep breaths definitely before I call for the target, and just kind of I really try and have nothing go on in my mind, like not thinking about, okay, four left, three left, two left, because then I start thinking or thinking of other things or thinking of scores. And so sometimes if I start thinking of that in my mind, I'll even, take my gun down, unmount, reset, and go back into it. So I think more just preparing of having a really still mind and really just trying to only focus on, okay, call for the target, keep your head on the gun, go to the target. So
Okay, so yeah, can you walk us through that a little bit more? So it sounds like you figured out a way to quiet your mind, and as soon as you start getting some self-talk that probably isn't helpful,
right.
you reset your routine. Can you walk us through your routine a little bit if you don't
Yeah.
mind sharing it? Or
Definitely. So, I mean, I most Helice stands, you walk up and there's a microphone in front of you. It's a little bit different at Worlds versus here, or
what is
internationally.
the difference? Sorry not to interrupt, but
No, the one of the
okay.
main differences is the microphones. So in Texas, or really most places in the states, besides a couple places, have a microphone in front of you, and you press the button on a microphone, and that spins up the targets. And so once the targets are spinning, and you've pressed that button, when you call pull, they'll throw. But internationally, they don't do that, and the targets are also different because the machines are single loaded machine. So once it throws the machine, that machine is out of use, which is different from here or from most places in the States. But over there, they start the targets for you. And so there's usually every world competition I've been to so far has had this where the microphone has a green button and a red button. So you have 20 seconds once the machine starts spinning. And so the green is on, meaning that you have your 20 seconds. And once it gets down to 10 seconds, the red light turns on, signaling that you only have 10 seconds left. So if you run out of that 20 seconds, it's a lost target, which is different. They don't
20
really,
seconds in between each target?
they're supposed to, I mean, they start up the machine. So usually it's when you load your gun, you have 20 seconds. So if you're
Gotcha.
taking a really long time, but I think it's just more to when there's so many shooters at a world competition, they don't want you to
I
take
see.
so long. So they'll usually you load your gun, they spin up the targets, and you can hear them and you can see the green light. And sometimes out of my peripheral, I'll see the red turn on, and so I know I need to call for the target soon. But it's not as rushed as it sounds in the 20 seconds. But so I guess I really try and stick to the same routine at Worlds and here and wherever I'm shooting, just kind of depending on if I press the button or if someone else is spinning up the targets. But usually walk up to the stand and really make sure that my feet are set good and kind of have the whole picture of what I'm wanting to shoot and or where I'm wanting to shoot. And really just, I mean, lots of deep breaths, definitely walk up there and kind of still my mind, get ready for however many targets I'm going to shoot. um, Usually I always am adjusting my hat, glasses, or my hair right before I shoot, always to make sure that it's kind of someone actually pointed that out at Worlds that they were like, you do the exact same thing every single time before you shoot. And
Oh,
she was like,
really? Like you mean in
yes,
terms of your hat adjustment, your glasses?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Usually I always have a lot of bracelets on, I guess, when I shoot. So I guess I always move those right before I shoot, um, which I never had noticed that I did that, but they always say I move that. I adjust my vest on both sides, usually fix my hat, make sure my hair's not in my eyes or anything, and then adjust my glasses and then go to mount my gun. And then usually mount my gun, deep breath, and then kind of wait a minute, still my eyes or calm my eyes, see the whole field, kind of that focus before, and then call for the target usually.
When you take a breath, for me, I found when I actually remember to do the breathing stuff, I shoot better. But I always breathe out, call for the target, hit, and then I breathe in again. Or do you find difference in how you do it? Do you just hold your breath, you let it out, and
I usually just take a deep breath in and out to kind of calm
just
myself
to calm
before.
down?
Yes.
But you're breathing through the shots, you think?
Yes, I guess breathing through the shots. I usually, I mean, as I kind of mount above the targets and then kind of go down into it because where my hold point is, and I hold at the very bottom of the box, wherever the grass or the pavement that is meeting the box. So usually hold right about there and then take a deep breath. And sometimes I hold for longer depending on, but usually it's not a super long time, and then call for the target.
Can I ask you about the mount thing? I've seen this with a lot of trap shooters where they start up high and then they come down. Is that where you learned it from, or is it because the mount fits better in your shoulder? Because a coach early on told me that if you mount up, your face is already on the gun, and so when you bow forward, you're in a better position. Is
Mhm.
that so that you get a consistent amount each time that you're doing it that way, or was it something
I
else?
I really just started doing it one day, and I guess I really liked it in my shot
Yeah,
routine. I think that for a while I had a hard time trying to mount the same every single time. And
gotcha. Okay.
so a lot of the time now I have my gun open and kind of swing it into my shoulder
Hmm.
to kind of get the same mount every time. And then it just kind of sits on my face. And I can also, I feel like I have the movement to make sure that my eye's where I want it on the gun
Okay.
rather than just kind of mounting there. I guess I really don't do it when I shoot sporting clays as much. Um, I guess sometimes I do, but I mean, every time at Helice, it's kind of above the box and then lower down to where I
You can
hold.
almost tell if someone's a trap shooter or a Heli shooter by that move.
Yes.
You know? 'Cause I remember I went to a trap shoot and someone said, "Do you shoot VTASC?" And I was like, "Yeah, why? How did you know?" And they were like, "It's because of the way you mount, because you just bring the gun up just to your face like this." And I was like, "Oh,
Right.
okay, well, I guess that makes sense." But no, that it makes sense for Halise. I could definitely see that because mount is super important. Sounds like you're into the gun. Do you know your setup? Like, are you 50-50 flat shooting, or are you shooting a little bit higher? What's
I
your
shoot
setup?
60/40. Mm-hmm.
60-40? So you see a little bit of space between the mid and the front rib?
Yes. Mhm.
I'm sorry, not rib, but the beads. Do
The
you
right, the beads aren't exactly flat. There's a little bit of a gap, more of a figure eight between them.
okay. And on your gun, if you don't mind me getting into your gun stuff, is it custom made for you? How did you set it up?
No, so I shoot a Zoli Bella, the vintage Bella. And I've shot a Zoli for this Zoli since 2022.
Hmm.
And I had shot a different Bella before that and got this one and just set it up and it really fit me great. I had no problems and I did not like recoil at all when I first started. So I needed a gun with absolutely no recoil and ammo too. And for whenever I did shoot a lot of sporting clays and this gun, I mean, really worked great. And then I've grown a lot since I've started this game. I've grown a lot with this gun in the past 3 years too. So we've just kind of made little adjustments here and there, and I've definitely moved the comb up and left and right and down, and really wherever had to add some length of pull to it as well. Um, but kind of realized, and I used to shoot 50-50 and then just shooting a lot of Halise now. And me and my dad have worked with my gun and on my gun and just shooting, just kind of worked it out to where I got the Zoli to really shoot where I wanted it to and has been a really, really great gun for me and perfect for what I want it for.
No, that's awesome. And obviously you're shooting 7.5s, or are you shooting something other than a one? I know 1 ounce, but are you shooting 7.5s each shot or switching
I
it up
shoot
or?
I shoot 1 ounce, 7.5, 1250s.
Okay.
Uh, BMP load, the F2 mocks. I
Oh man, I love those shells. Those are my favorite
yes,
shells. Yeah. The
they're
1300s also are some of my favorite shells.
yes. That's what I shot at Worlds this year. Was the same loads, just the 1300s. But I still don't really like a lot of recoil, and I know a lot of people say that you need to shoot faster shells and heavier shells at Halise to break them. But when I first started this game, I shot 7/8s, 1160s, the BMP load, the competition ones. Even before I shot for BMP, that was the lightest shell that I could get my gun to cycle with when I was still shooting an automatic a long time ago too. And that's what I shot this game with, and I never had any problems breaking the targets, and they
Mhm.
still so would be able to break the plastic and um, do well when I was shooting. But now the shells that I'm shooting, I'm able to bump it up a little bit to 1250s and 1 ounce loads, and that's what I shoot on both shots at everything.
Do you, I mean, obviously you could probably feel a difference, but when you're shooting 1250s versus 1300s, did you do it based on recoil and felt recoil, or did you notice a difference when you made the switch?
Before I shot for BMP, yes, I did. I shot a bunch of different shells, and even before I shot for BMP, I only shot 1200s because a lot of shells were just the recoil was really bothering me. It would kind of make my head hurt or just wasn't wasn't really shooting as well. And all the time. And so once I started shooting for BMP and got to kind of experiment with their shells, the 1250s really don't, I don't ever notice the recoil. And even the 1300s Now I'm older and a little bit taller and can withstand more recoil. But definitely don't notice really the difference anymore. I like the lighter shells and I feel like I can shoot more. And I shoot those shells at sporting clays too. And I'll go shoot a round of 100 and they don't bother me at all.
Mm,
But the 1300s, I would say I would really only shoot at Helice just because I am shooting less.
sure.
Mhm.
Macy, and I'm sorry I don't know this. How old are you?
I'm 20.
20. Okay, so you're now a two-time Lady World Champion and
Mhm.
a four-time USHA National Champion, and you're not even 21 yet. That's insane. What's that journey been like? As you know,
Yeah.
this is stuff that people hope for, in their whole career, and you've done it before you've even turned 21.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been really fun. I think one of the biggest challenges is balancing school and missing classes just for shooting. I'm I just started my third year of college. This is my senior year. I'll graduate in May, but had 1 week of school and then left for 9 days. So definitely just kind of learning how to balance that and going to my professors and kind of understanding how I'm going to balance school and missing. And I go to Baylor University. I don't know if, but they have
What's your area of focus for studying?
my major is child and family studies, and then I have a minor in religion.
Okay.
But there's an attendance policy. So even if I have an A, if you miss more than 70, or if you drop below the 70%, then you automatically fail, even if you are excelling in the class.
Even
So
if you tell them that you're a two-time Lady World Champion, they're not
even
going to give
if,
any.
even if, but so going to them and I mean, the past 2 years they've been great, and I've been really thankful to have such understanding professors. But going to them and learning, okay, I'm going to balance this and writing papers at the gun club and papers on the plane, and so I think that's been the biggest challenge of being young, which I mean has its own things because they are understanding, and I know sometimes with the job maybe they wouldn't be. So just learning kind of how to balance that and balance, friends and being gone. And so it's been good.
Speaking of that, so what do you think will change when you get out of college, get a job?
Uh,
Will you still be competing? Do you think that's still on in your
yes.
future? Okay.
I would hope so. I hope to do this for, I mean, a long, long time. It's something that I really love and can't really see myself without shooting. And later in my life, whether that's a job focused with shooting, that would be incredible. Um, if a job came up where I got to work in the shooting industry, I would love that. My major is child and family studies, so if not, then getting to work with kids in some capacity, or whether I got to mix the two. So getting to work with kids and getting to still be in the shooting industry, that would be like a dream job. So either way, yes, whether it's a job focused in this industry or not, I definitely see myself doing this for a really long time.
Well, we gotta find you a job in the shooting industry because I think you'd be a good ambassador
Thank
for the
you.
sport, and kind of what you've done for ladies as well in the sport as well.
Yeah.
Which there's not a lot of ladies shooting Helice, right? I mean, I want to say, do you know how many by chance off the top of your head, or
I really don't know how many. I mean, there's a
it's
good
definitely
handful.
growing. It's definitely growing.
Yes,
I know
it
that.
definitely is. Um, I would say that there's a good handful of us every time that are from the US that are always there. I mean, there were a lot of ladies at Worlds,
Yeah.
and there's definitely more ladies at every shoot, and every year at Nationals, it's growing. Um, but I mean, there's definitely a lot more men in this sport in Helice that shoot consistently than there is women.
And that's the same in sporting. That's the same in skeet. That's the
Right.
same in all the
Exactly.
disciplines. But again, like I said, I think we're seeing progress through all the disciplines where
Mhm.
more women are getting into it. It's much more accessible. The gun manufacturers even making women-specific guns, so more women
Right.
can compete and get into it. Because fit, I feel like, has always been an issue. Not necessarily financial, but gun fit. Did you have
Right.
to struggle with that before you found the Bella, or?
A little bit. I was 12 when I really started competing. And so I shot a small automatic, the Beretta A400, just because it was one of the lightest guns that I could hold
Yeah.
and was able to actually shoot a lot with. And then really experimented with a couple different ladies' guns. But the biggest thing I think was more I wanted and my dad wanted a gun that would kind of grow with me. whereas the automatic, you can't really, I mean, you can't adjust the comb, at least the one I was shooting. And so it was perfect for whenever I was first starting out. But then I grew 4 or 5 inches and then was trying to figure out, okay, where does the length of pole need to go and where does my comb? And so once I got the Bella, I mean, the Bella is the ladies model that Zoli makes.
Okay.
And that was great. I've been able to adjust it and it has never been too heavy and I've never added any weight to it since I've had it. So it's been perfect for me.
Training for this can be kind of interesting, right? Because it's not like Helice fields are everywhere, but I think you're in one of the best places because you guys are in Dallas, right? Is that right? Or close to
Yes.
Dallas?
Yes.
So
We're from Dallas.
Dallas, okay, so Dallas Gun Club's your home club,
Yes.
and dare I say, it probably has one of the best setups for Helice, right? Like maybe in
Right.
the US, if not, I haven't been traveling around the world, but out here in California, Stockton Trap and Skeet is one of the best Helice clubs, this side of the West, right? So
Yeah.
and I've heard a lot of things about Dallas Gun Club, and I still need to make it out there. I have family in Austin, so I'm heading to nationals this year. But I've always wanted to go to Dallas Gun Club for the Helice thing. How has training been for you? Like, how do you train? Do you get out there often? Are you just shooting tournaments, or are you going out there to train as well?
Definitely. I mean, I'm in college now, so I'm in Waco. So I'm only about an hour and 45 minutes south of Dallas, and it's a super easy drive up home. And we're 20 where we live up in close to Dallas. We're 25 minutes from Dallas Gun Club. So when I'm home, I get to definitely go out and practice a lot more. When I was in high school and lived at home, I was practicing 2, 3 times a week, going out and shooting Helice or sporting or something. But here, it's definitely been different. I shoot a lot of trap for practice. I'll go out and shoot either wobble trap or I'll shoot 25, 24 yard trap for fun. And definitely different shooting by myself versus shooting with a lot of people because I'll go by myself and in an hour I can shoot 4 to 5 rounds really easily of trap. So I think just kind of getting more, just pulling the trigger a lot more rather than because at least, I mean, for practice, I really only shoot maximum of 40 targets usually for practice. Sometimes we'll shoot more, but that's usually we shoot, or I'll shoot 10 for practice and then kind of look at the 30 for a race. So I usually try and go out there every time I'm home for visiting my parents or just going back home, I try and go shoot. But really, I feel like I travel a lot for the shoots as it is. So that's kind of the practice too. I mean, I just got back almost a week ago from Worlds, and then I'll leave next weekend for a shoot up by Wichita Falls, and then have a couple weeks off, and then go to another shoot. So really, just during the week, trying to go out, shoot some trap, really just stay in my gun, pulling the trigger, and
Mhm.
then going and shooting Helice as much as I can when I'm able to.
Can I ask you, so how do you train your eyes when you're shooting different disciplines? Because I feel like bunker, wobble trap, like you
Mhm.
said, 24, 27 yard trap, help teach your eyes how to like lock in on the target. And
Definitely.
that's kind of what you're doing. It sounds like it for Helice as well. But do you train your eyes just through repetition, or are you doing specific like drills with your eyes only, even when you're not shooting?
Mhm. I definitely think it's more just repetition of the targets going out. And a lot of the time, wherever I'm holding for trap, just like a soft focus before where the target comes out. So really just seeing the whole picture and then wherever that target is, the flash of the target, seeing it and then going to the target and seeing it really clearly before I'm pulling the trigger. So I
Mhm.
think even practicing trap is really good for that as well in Helice. And me and my dad have always shot a lot of wobble trap for
Yeah,
practice for
wobble trap
Helice.
is fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Bunker
So,
too, I think is good because you use your
yes.
eyes very similarly in bunker than you do ZZs.
Definitely. So, and I just joined a club in Fort Worth to really start shooting a lot more bunker too and training for that. But definitely the same eye movement of before I'm calling for the target, having a really soft focus and then seeing that target and locking onto it and going to kill it. So just trying to practice that really in all the disciplines that I'm shooting to kind of make that a repetition every time I shoot.
Do you use any like tools or drills off the field to enhance that kind of processing, that visual processing, or your reaction time, or is it just shooting targets?
Really just shooting targets. I really don't use any other tools or at least that I've noticed. Really it's just that repetition that has really helped me be able to practice that.
What parts of your game have you worked on the hardest, you think, and how did you do it?
Mhm. Definitely using my nerves. I used to get so nervous I mean, even at super small shoots before I go up there, getting so nervous. Um,
Can you tell us a little bit about that? And I know this might, open you up to be a little vulnerable here, but like, is it like negative self-talk that you're telling yourself, or is it the anticipation, like everyone's watching you, or what are you going through?
it's not, it's more of just really wanting to do well, I think. And so just kind of, I think, I mean, me and my dad joke about it now, but he's always like, use the nerves, let them excite you. And someone told me this at my first world shoot. And it's kind of something that's always stuck with me, but they were like, when you're not nervous, it means that you're not really enjoying it anymore.
Yeah,
When you're nervous, you're looking forward to it.
yeah,
And he was like, use that. Like when you're not nervous anymore, that means that,
you don't
something
care. Yeah.
changed. Right. And I really have, even my mom brings that up when I'm nervous and has been something that's definitely helped me to kind of, okay, I'm excited about it. So use the nerves. Um, I think a lot of it is even sometimes I feel like I look so shaky up there shooting sometimes because I'm so nervous but just going up there and using that rather and using that for concentration and a lot of deep breaths, I think that has been something that I've really had to work on, especially at the world shoots, and really saw that last year at in Egypt whenever I was shooting. That was probably the most nervous I've been at a shoot. Just one of the biggest competitions, and just was doing well and wanted to keep that up. So using that as more of a concentration and focus rather than letting it break me down and kind of how to use those nerves.
So that's and one, I appreciate you saying that. I feel like everyone can relate to that, right? And that
Yeah.
probably resonates with everybody being nervous. And someone who isn't nervous, I don't think is really a real competitor, because they got to feel
Right.
some sort of pressure about
Right.
it, whether it's them hitting the target or missing the target, them feeling the pressure of like the severity of the scoring and where they're at in the scoring, what it could mean if they hit this one extra target versus another.
Right.
All those things are kind of flashing through, but when you're breathing, is it a clearing of your mind that you're noticing, or are you just get more clarity in terms of what you're visualizing? Like what helps you when you're calming your nerves?
I think just more before it's just like when I'm up there waiting to shoot, really just watching the targets. And I also have started, even when I'm standing up there and a couple people are before me shooting, I kind of stop watching the targets and I'm just watching other things, just watching the ground, because I've noticed I get more nervous if I see really hard targets
Mm.
come out. And so just kind of a couple people before I'll stop watching, but um, really just keeping my mind clear of, okay, whether it's at Worlds and I'm only shooting 2 or 3 targets or going up there at Nationals to shoot 5 targets, um, really just clearing my mind to, okay, just one target at a time. So.
No, I think that's super helpful. Do you find that that helps you like in real life as well? Like in school and other scenarios, like you use that calming technique to calm yourself down, but does that help you in other areas
Honestly, I really haven't noticed it in any other area.
elsewhere? Okay. So it's
Yes,
only in competition that you're feeling that anxiety or that pressure.
right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Having to really use the focus.
So, the targets fly differently every time in Helice, right? And
Mhm.
are you, when you call for the target, are you reading the target or are you just instinctually moving to it, making a move?
Really just more instinctually moving to it. So
Okay.
really, I try not to read the target necessarily. Sometimes if it's, dipping really low and I need to wait a second on it, but really just calling for the target and then seeing where it's going to go and kind of moving from there.
And so do you ever have to slow yourself down? I always feel like that's the thing that I struggle in because I don't feel like, I feel like I have to snap to it and get on it. But do you do that or do you feel like you have all the time?
No, I definitely have to slow down sometimes. I think that is when I'm really missing a lot or just having an off day. I think that's one of the first things I always go to is just slowing way down or taking that half a second before I'm shooting to really see the target before I'm actually pulling the trigger. I think that's something too. If I'm having an off day and I'm like, Dad, what is going on? I feel like and he's like, you are shooting way too fast. Like, just take a second longer. You have so much time. So I think that a lot of the times that's what happens. Like you speed up and you're thinking, okay, I need to shoot it faster before the cap goes outside of the fence or even when it's windier. But I really try to stay in that same speed every time because I've noticed whenever I do speed up that it causes me to miss more targets.
Aside from slowing down, is there anything else that you like tell yourself if you missed a target?
A lot of the times I make myself reset. So I'll walk back, not walk back, but I'll kind of step back, take a deep breath, reset my feet. If if it was for something like nerves or whatever it might be. Um, so I really try and to not let myself focus on the misses because then I'll start to think more about it, which was really something I had to think about this year at Worlds. During the last day of shooting, kind of just, okay, that's behind you, go and shoot the rest of them. Definitely.
Can you tell us an example from this worlds where
Yes.
nerves came up, you dealt with it, you kind of rolled with it, or
Right. Right. So on this, the format for this year at Worlds was the World Championship. They had events on the other days, but the World Championship was Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, you shot 18 targets. Sunday, you shot 12 targets for 30 birds for the World Championship. So on the first day on Saturday, I hit all 18. So I was straight with no misses. And
wow.
so there were only, I don't know exact. I don't look at the scores either at a shoot at a big shoot like that. I won't look at how everyone else is doing. Sometimes you'll hear it just because people are, around so many people.
People
But
love to talk about everybody's scores
yes,
other than their own,
but
you know?
I won't go look at the scores online because I'll just think about that while I'm shooting. So I knew that there were a couple 18s, and so going into the last day, I waited all day to shoot my 12 targets. I had been out there a long time and was super nervous. Things are running through your mind. If you can hit all 30, this is the world championship. Just hit the 12. And I walked up to the station and I missed my first two targets straight out of because you shoot on that Saturday, there were five rings. And so you shot three at, no, there were six rings. And so you shot three at each target. And so, or three at each ring. So for 18 targets. And then on that Sunday, you shot two at each ring. So 12 targets. And so I missed the whole ring. I missed both
Oh
two out.
no.
And I had the first one come out and it was a hard target and I missed it. And then the second one came out and I missed it. And I told myself, I was like, okay, like there's nothing that you can do to get those targets back. Those are behind you. And I was like, just hit the rest of them. And so really having to make the conscious thought of, okay, you can either let this, set
Yeah.
you back and you can go miss another two, or you can just get the rest of them. And so I think that was definitely a mindset. And something I've really had to work on is just leaving it at the field because you can either use it to, I was really trying to use that, okay, just get the next 10. And I was able to run the next 10. And so I hit the next 10 in a row for a 28. And so really just having to leave it on the field is something I've really had to
Yeah.
work on. And
But it sounds like you also give yourself some really positive self-talk. It's not like negative. You're not like beating yourself up. You're like, Macy, what are you doing? Come on. It's more
right,
of like, all right, let it go. You move on.
right.
It's
It
very like
definitely
stoic and just calm and whatever. I mean, I'm assuming based on what you said, but does that sound right, or are you ever like beating yourself up?
I try to. I think that my parents always are like, Macy, you are not giving yourself enough grace. Just, you're
Oh,
allowed
that's
to
good.
have some misses. And, how you recover from them is, that's where you go from there. And you can't have a good day every single day because that's just not how it works.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes I definitely am more hard on myself, but especially at Worlds, really trying to just understand like, okay, you know, there's nothing that you can do about it. And so kind of having that mindset, I think, is really what's been helpful and something that I learned last year at Worlds too, just trying to at the bigger competitions just give myself more grace because then I'm able to do better later. So just learning kind of how to, I guess, just after I shoot, just okay, this is what, always striving for my best and then just seeing kind of where it falls.
I feel like, I mean, you've been winning everything, it feels like it, but like when you've lost a tournament, or let's say you haven't even podiumed in a tournament, what's your conversation to yourself then? Does it motivate you to get back into training, or do you reflect on kind of what you did and then just try to tweak and change? What's been your commentary to yourself then?
Mhm. I think a lot of the times it's just, I feel like I know what I did right after, whatever it might have been, whether it was picking my head up or just wasn't really mentally focused or whatever that might have been. So I think just really making note of that for the next time and trying to improve on it the next time I go out and shoot. So whether a lot of the times it could be I was picking my head up. And so next time I train or practice, I'm really going to focus on, okay, I'm going to go out and all 30 really try and keep the focus the whole time.
One of the things that I find to be the best and the hardest things about Helice is that there's so much time in between when you shoot.
Yes.
And talking about staying and keeping focus, how do you do that? Because, like in Nationals, for example, when we were shooting that in Stockton, there were so many people there. There's 4 or 5 rings, and you shoot your five, and then you got to wait maybe an hour to, or I'm sorry, you shoot your five, you keep moving down the line, get your 15 done, and then you got to wait a few hours before you end up doing your next 15. I'm
Mhm.
assuming at the Worlds it's even more than that, right? Because there's a lot more people. They're processing through a lot more people. How do you keep your focus locked in, or do you just give yourself breaks, and then when you're in the box or you're ready to shoot, that's when you hunker down, I guess.
I think
I'm asking.
definitely at the shoots in the States, usually shoot, you have like the cranks where you shoot 15 or 12 or whatever it might be. But at Worlds, you only shoot, so like you only shoot once and you go all the way through and then you're done. But so I think,
All the way through, meaning all 30?
well, all the way for
The
whatever the
first,
day is. So
whatever
18.
first crank is.
Yes. So like on Saturday it was 18. So I was shooter 205 this year. So I went up there whenever it was my turn, depending on what number we started on. And the unfortunate thing was is my dad was number 3 and I was 205. So whenever they started on 1, he was the third shooter and was done at 9:15, and then I waited till about 4 to shoot. So because you don't get to pick your number there. So it was more of just, I think, just kind of watching other people getting up, walking around, even at, I mean, both here and in the States and internationally, getting up and watching other people shoot and watching my friends shoot and really just, not thinking too hard about it and letting myself get worked up with the nerves or thinking a lot about the targets. And then however many shooters before, if that's 20, 30 shooters before, putting my vest on, really, okay, getting in the mindset of, okay, I'm going to go shoot and get ready.
Can you tell us a little bit about your mindset during that time? So when you're not preparing, you're sitting waiting for your turn, are you keeping yourself busy? Are you keeping your mind focused on other things, or what's your process there? And then when it's about to be your time, how do you get into your mindset?
Right. I think the biggest thing is really just not focusing too hard on it. I feel like there's always something to do at Worlds. We usually go and support whoever else of our team that's shooting. So really going and whether that's I always go and watch my dad shoot or one of my best friends that goes up there and shoots. So she and I always walk with each other, and we're super close family friends. So supporting her and getting to walk with her and everyone else that's shooting and watch them and kind of get to support them definitely. And whether it's at home too, and I'll go eat lunch or go wherever, and kind of not really just sitting there and waiting all day for my turn. And then once it kind of gets close to my turn, starting to get ready. So, vest on and getting my gun all ready and kind of getting all my stuff set up, and then really just going up there and watching the targets and just kind of getting more focused about, kind of the mindset of, okay, go up there, shoot your targets, stay focused on them, and then kind of standing up there for my turn from there.
Okay. If you were to give any advice for some new shooters, what common mistakes do you see newer shooters make in Helice? Because the sport's been growing. There's been a lot of new people coming in the sport. Surprisingly, a lot of people take to it very quickly, especially if they've been shooting trap,
Mhm.
bunker, some of the other disciplines. The sporting shooters tend to do well at this sport as well. But what do you see as a common mistake with a lot of the newer Helice shooters?
Um, I think a lot of the times it's just the timing is so different.
Yeah.
Be one of the biggest challenges and something I had a hard time with for a long time switching from sporting clays, but just finding that timing on it, because sometimes you see people and the target has to be under power for it to be considered a good target. So sometimes it'll go up and then as it's coming down, and so that it's not just trying to find that timing of when you shoot it and calling pull. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges of the game and switching from sporting clays and trap, because most people are going to shoot at sporting clays and trap or whatever other discipline it might be around the same time at each target. But at Helice, some people shoot it extremely fast. I mean, right out, and they're able to, and that works great for them. And some people take a little bit longer. And so just finding that time that works best for you and your shooting style for Helice.
Do you change your gun when you go from Helice to sporting clays? Like, do you make any
No,
adjustments?
not really. I hold points different. I hold really far down for Helice. I mean, almost at the ground. But in sporting clays, it's more where, because I know where the target's coming from. But I really don't, I would say, make any adjustments to my gun or anything besides chokes and, the standard things, but not how I shoot them or how my gun is set up or anything.
Yeah, I remember when I first got into the sport, everyone was telling me you need to shoot a much higher gun than your sporting gun. And then I kind of figured out on my own that really actually a flat shooting gun for me was a better
Mhm.
option. 60-40, 50-50.
Right.
And it sounds like you shoot pretty flat as well. So when you're
Most,
making it, sorry,
okay.
sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just gonna say 60-40 is, I mean, what's worked good. I used to shoot a little bit higher than I am right now, but we lowered it back down recently. And I mean, really it's just finding whatever works best for you. Some people shoot, I mean, an 85-15 high, and I personally don't like that because then I
Yeah.
start thinking about it. But there's plenty of people that shoot it with a 50-50 gun and excel at it. So
Right, right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're spot on. It's really what works for you and how your eyes and what your sight picture best sees for when you're looking at the target. When you're aimed down, just out of curiosity, when you're aimed down on the ground, your eyes are up though, right? Over the boxes? Or are you your gun barrel's below the boxes, but are you looking at the boxes or above the boxes or past the boxes?
I'm looking past the boxes. So kind of that like soft focus, because it is such a wide view
Yeah,
for to see all five boxes at the same time. And I really want to make sure I can see, especially the one box and the five box, because those I would say are the most challenging boxes. It's the biggest movement and the hardest targets are able to making it quickest to the fence. Um, so really, I mean, I'm mounted and I have kind of a soft focus just beyond the boxes and almost to the fence. So I'm able to see movement whenever the flaps come down, but more just a soft focus to see all of the boxes rather than just looking at the one that my gun is mounted on.
okay. Yeah, I feel like that's using your periphery vision by going wide. It lets you see the speed or the drop of the box and then the target come out. And then what you're doing is you're locking in on that target and then you make your move. Is that right? Does that sound about right?
Mhm.
Are you making a move before you see the target to get to the
No,
box area? Or is it eyes first and then you make the move?
definitely I wait until because the box comes down, I mean, barely before. And so, or the flap. So it'll flip down, and then so I know it's out of that box. And I feel like it's so easy to just swing straight to the movement of the box, but really taking that, like, it's barely a second, but taking it to see what the target's doing, because it can be such a hard move if it comes out of five and it's throwing this way and you've swung all the way this way, and then you're having to correct it and go all the way across the field.
Right.
So I feel like taking that second, okay, where's it going? Okay, it's going up. And so really going up to there, which has been, I mean, it's taken me so long to really break that habit. But kind of getting that movement down and the repetition of, okay, wait, see it. Okay. And so my eyes know and my mind knows it's out of five. And then okay, it's going right. Now move and go with it.
Yeah, even knowing what you know, knowing what I know about the sport, it's one of those things where you can know everything that you need to know to do this, but doing it is still the hard part.
Right. Definitely.
But you seem to have been so consistent in that and figuring out the rhythm, the timing, what it takes. And that, like I said, that's impressive. That's not, I feel like it's such a feel sport too, because it's such a reaction sport
Mhm.
that you have to kind of get into a groove a little bit shooting this. So shooting other disciplines can sometimes, I think, throw you off other than what you cross train in. Um, anyways, that's just more of an observation than anything else. I don't have a question around it or anything. Um, do you see the sport growing in the U.S. now that you're traveling all over and shooting everywhere? I feel like it has in the last couple of years, but I'm curious. on what you're seeing?
hmm I definitely think it has. Just from, I mean, I started shooting this when I was 14 and I'm 20 now, so 6 years. And the growth has been a lot. And there's so many different venues now, and there's more venues in Texas and of where you can shoot it and just the amount of people that are shooting it. So I definitely see it growing. And just as more and more people know about the sport, and I mean, internationally too, it's growing. And I'm excited to see kind of where it goes from here and how it's going to continue to evolve.
What's the international scene like? Is it bigger in the other countries other than the U.S., or do you think it's bigger in the U.S.?
I would think it really depends on the country. There's a lot of shooters from so many different countries. Italy has so many shooters. Argentina has a lot of shooters. Egypt had several shooters too. Obviously, wherever it is, there's going to be a lot of shooters from there. So whenever it was in Egypt, there's going to be a lot of people just because of proximity um, and same with Italy, there's a lot more Italians that were able to attend. But I think it's definitely just kind of based off of what they have there. And I could not tell you the however many rings each country has and where they are exactly for Helice. I know like Great Britain doesn't have as many rings as we do here, but
Oh, really?
there's still a lot of shooters that come to the world competitions. But kind of talking with them about how often they get to shoot Helice versus how often we do it, it's very different. And so they shoot other disciplines for practice. And so I think it's definitely, I'm super or I mean, just we are super fortunate to have so many rings. I mean, in Texas and all over the nation, really, and getting to travel a lot for it. But I think that it is interesting to just see the different, how many rings and what they have to practice in all the different countries.
And if you don't mind giving shout outs to your clubs out there in Texas, where else are you shooting other than Dallas Gun Club in Texas?
Yeah, so there's Dallas Gun Club in Texas, and then one of the newest places that just opened up. So it was originally Iowa Park Trap Club up by Wichita Falls, but now it's the National Helice Shooting Complex. And they're opening up several rings. I believe that I haven't been out there in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but they're working towards 6 rings, being able to open all of them, having a lot of shoots out there, and they have sportingclays there. And also, kind of by Austin and Lampasas, Texas, they have 2 rings out there, and so we'll go out there for shoots. And I'm missing. I believe that those are the 3 main places that I go to in Texas to go shoot. And there's other places that are getting them too. I believe there's some Greater Houston is getting rings, but I haven't been out there for a competition. And Houston's farther farther south, and then there's some in Louisiana. I mean, there's some in California. Really, they're kind of growing all over.
Yeah, we've got a ton of them here in California. In fact, my local gun club here, Martinez Gun Club, has 2 rings. It does not get utilized as much as I'd like it to.
Mhm.
It's got a different background because it backs up to a refinery. So some people don't like that. It can get a little windy out there, but I always tell,
Right.
shoot the course, don't or shoot the field. Don't worry about the variables. Like you got to train in all different conditions and all different
Definitely.
backgrounds, and I
Right.
think that's the better thing. But Stockton Trap and Skeet is kind of like our crown jewel here in California in terms of Helice,
Okay.
places to shoot. They have the most competitive crowd. They've kind of cultivated the community that you talked about in Dallas. They've kind of cultivated that here in California as well, and it's a great group of folks. Love going out there. In fact, I think they're competing today, and I'm not there today, but I've taken a little bit of a break from Helice just to kind of focus on other things. But what advice would you give shooters coming into the sport? I find like a lot of people will come check it out, but they're so intimidated by it for some reason.
Right.
What advice would you give them about coming in or checking it out or trying it?
I mean, I would definitely just say that I feel like the Halise community has been so welcoming to me. And always, I mean, when I first started and was younger, there were always people wanting to help and just get me more interested in the sport. So really just reaching out to the people. I mean, I feel like the Halise community is really incredible, and almost every person you meet would be willing to help and kind of help you understand the rules because it is a different game. And kind of some tips, and there's a lot of great people that would be so willing to help. So really just reaching out and finding someone that would really want to help, and just definitely going and trying it. It is different, and it takes a couple times. It's not something, it's just a different game to shoot. So going out there more than once and just trying to get comfortable with it.
And I think I saw like on Facebook, you do some coaching, right, Macy?
I actually just did my first coaching or lessons this past summer. So not super or not for a super long time, but something that I have started to do this year.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. Community is great. If you know anyone that shoots Helice, the message I would give to is just reach out to them, just try it, just come try it one time. And I think
Right.
some clubs allow you to just shoot targets only if you don't want to get into the other side of the competition side of it. If you just want to come shoot targets and try it out and see how
Right.
you do, I think most clubs would encourage you to do it. And some of them have even practice rings to try
Mhm.
it out. But I love the sport as well. And the community here in California with it is great. We've got a
Mhm.
number of clubs here in California now starting to install Helice rings. But I think the key thing with Helice is if you build it, people will come, but you also need to build the community around it too.
Right.
And since it's more of a social game where you have a lot of breaks in between, it's actually recommended you go talk to people in between
Right.
your rings and the cranks. And once you get to know the people there, I think you'll find a great community of shooters out there. And a lot of them are multidisciplinary shooters too. So
Mhm.
you'll find your trap, skeet, sporting clays, feet task shooters all shooting this game when they're not shooting their main discipline. So no, that's good advice. So what are your goals, Macy, for 2025 and beyond? You just won the world championship. Does
Mhm.
this mean that the season's over for Helice, or does it continue for the nationals? I guess nationals over. I haven't even been paying attention.
Okay. Yeah. So usually it was a little bit earlier. Last year, Worlds was in October, November of last year, so kind of more towards the end of the year. But the Helice season in the States, like in America, is usually from once nationals is over. So the first shoot after nationals, all the way to where nationals is the last shoot of the season. So we just basically started this new year. Nationals was in June this year in Mississippi. And then so Worlds goes follows after nationals, so kind of the end of last year, I guess, and then it slows down a little bit in the winter months, so there's just not as many shoots and once you get into December and January and February. But really I'm going to start trying to shoot more bunker. I think in the next couple of months is kind of where my mind's at. There's a bunker match in November and I have not ever competed at bunker before, so if that ends up working out, I really would love to start getting into that and just kind of seeing where that goes and seeing how
Oh,
much
I
I
can see you
enjoy.
doing very good at that, honestly.
Oh, thank
And
you.
being that it's an Olympic sport too, I mean, heck, you never know. Macy Page Olympian could be the next step for you, you know?
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, there's just so many opportunities, and I've shot it. I mean, this summer I really started to shoot it more and really enjoyed it and feel like it's more of a similar skills and able to transfer it easy from Helice. Definitely it's very challenging and very humbling sometimes to shoot it when I haven't shot it for a little bit. But I really have been enjoying getting to kind of train in that and start a new discipline. And so really looking forward to that, seeing if I'm able to make it, hopefully with school, to the selection match in November. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to now, and still the same police shoots going and practicing. I have a couple in the next few months, and just really still staying with that and just kind of seeing where it goes.
Are you making your way out to California at all for any of the heli shoots, or is there anything going on out here? I don't recall.
There are heli shoots. I don't know right off the top of my head. I feel like my mind has been so set on worlds for the past 3 months that I haven't really thought of too much after besides the bunker shoot. I know that there will be shoots in California. So usually we don't go out there unless it's nationals just because we're so busy here. But um and then with graduating in May and all that going on. So I'm not exactly sure yet, but definitely will be making it to a lot of heli shoots.
Has it sunk in yet that you're the two-time world champion back to back right now?
I don't think so. I think it did. I mean, in the moment, it was definitely so cool because I don't know if I mentioned this, but I actually was in a shoot off for that title. So we tied, me and another lady tied actually for Ladies World Champion, and then had to be in a shoot off for it. And so I think after that moment, it was super exciting, and it was just crazy to me that I was able to do that and super, super thankful. And so that's been really cool and was definitely so, so exciting. So I don't know necessarily if it's sunk in yet. I mean, I've been super excited ever since then, but
Right on. Tell us about the shoot off. So how did that play out? You guys tied for what, 28s? And
228.
then you had to shoot off. How many targets did you have to shoot?
So for this shoot off, it was you we each shot 5 targets. So her number was first, so she got to go first. So she shot 2 targets, I shot 2 targets, she shot 2 targets, I shot 2 targets, and then 1 and 1 is how it works. So that way out of 5. So even if no matter what you shoot the 5, and then it's depending on that if you're tied or whoever won.
Okay.
So she hit her first two, I hit my first two, and then she she missed one and hit one, and then I hit my next two, and then she missed one, and so then the shoot off was over
Okay.
out of that 5.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's great. Well, I mean, it's not great for her, but great for you. And it's exciting to hear that you made it through the shoot off. Another second time world champion, not even 21 yet. But you could say, you could tell people, you should tell your university, listen, you know who I am. I'm Macie Page, two-time world champion, four-time national champion. Give me some time off here so I can go to these tournaments.
Right.
No, I'm sure you'll be done with school soon. If you could change or innovate anything about the sport right now, what would you change? This is kind of a loaded question, I know, but
Right.
I have my opinions about this, but I'm curious what your thoughts are, being that you're in it.
Right. I think just growing the sport. I always am wanting more people and more people to know about it. And so I think really just growing the sport to where, people are more comfortable with it and it's not, I think that sometimes it's like, oh, what's this? Like, no, I don't want to try it. But really just making it to where it's at more shoots and more places have the availability to shoot Helice and just kind of getting more information out there about the sport because I've enjoyed it so much and have gotten to travel so much for it and just am really thankful for it. So just having more people know more about it is what I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's such a great sport. Like, and it's a great sport to watch,
Mhm.
even, you know. It's definitely a filmable clay sport or shotgun shooting sport, I should say, not clay, because you could actually see the targets on camera, unlike sporting clays.
Right.
And if they're filming skeet, they're filming bunker, they can absolutely film Helice. So I'd like to see more video of this with commentary, because I think the commentary also would make this an interesting sport to watch on TV or anywhere else. But the other thing I'd like to see is, and this isn't a knock on anyone because it's still a newer sport, but just more recognition for the winners and the champions, right? Like even on the websites and the things, it's kind of like this esoteric, weird world of like you got to do a number of different shoots and the points are weird and the way they categorize you is kind of interesting. But just getting more clarity around who the winners are, who the champions are, promoting them a little bit more, I think would be something that I think the sport could use to better market it and get it out to more people.
Right.
Because it's a little bit of an expensive sport, but I think it's still accessible to a lot of people. What I think a lot of people forget to realize is if you're going to a sporting tournament, it's about the same cost as going to a sporting tournament. The difference is you're just not shooting as many targets, but it's
Right.
just a different vibe, a different community, different group doing things. And I think it's a great group and community to get involved in and also to participate in. So I would highly encourage folks to get into it. But I'd love to see the sport kind of recognize its winners, recognize its tournaments a little bit more, and maybe put it out there more in terms of like filming it and doing things like that. Because I think it could take it a long way.
Right. Definitely. I agree.
Yeah. Well, Macy, I appreciate your time. This has been a really insightful view into your world and into the world of Helice. I'd like to interview some more Helice shooters as well. It's a discipline I love to death and would love to do more of it. And I appreciate your time sharing your experience and kind of your approach to this game.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been great to get to share more about it and why I love the sport so much.
Well, good luck on your bunker and also in your future Helice shooting. And I'm sure I'll see you on a field out there somewhere.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you again.
Take care. Thanks for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation with Macy, drop us a like, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. We've got more legends and rising stars from the world of shotgun shooting coming your way. See you next time.